our feature presentation.
All righty. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Wealth Management Advisory Club meeting. Today, we have a very, very special guest, Cary Carbonaro, CFP Certified Advisors Capital Management. Just going to read a little bit about her, and then we are going to get this meeting underway. So, Cary Carbonaro is a CFP certified with over 25 years of experience guiding individuals and businesses through the complexities of financial planning and wealth management. As a trailblazer in her field, Cary is an empowering force for women, dedicating her career to closing the gender gap in finance and promoting financial literacy amongst women of all ages. She's currently the Senior Vice President, Director of Women in Wealth at ACM. Previously, Cary was a partner and head of women leadership at United Capital, which was acquired by Goldman Sachs. Recipient of the prestigious 2016 Investment News Woman to Watch Award. She was also listed as number 4 among the top 100 advisors in the United States, as ranked by Investopedia. She's author of the best-selling book, which actually we have here today, if anyone does show up here in person, The Money's Queen Guide for the Women Who Want to Build Wealth and Banish Fear, which has been lauded for its practical advice, engaging storytelling, and its unique perspective on wealth management for women, and was Amazon's #1 bestseller in wealth management in several countries. Her dedication to financial education has earned her numerous accolades, including being named one of the 20 most powerful women in finance by Worth magazine. She's also a passionate advocate for women's financial well-being, frequently sharing her experience as a sought-after speaker at conferences and events all around the world. Her insights have been featured in numerous publications, including the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and Forbes, where she has helped countless readers take control of their financial futures. She's been a guest on Fox and Friends, The Today Show, CNN, CNBC, CBS, Fox News, ABC, and NPR, and as a frequent guest on Fox 5, PBS Nightly Business, and WIC, WPIX NY. She's spoken all over the world about financial literacy and women. She holds a bachelor's degree from State University of New York at Cortland and an MBA from Long Island University. As we gather here today at the WMA Club meeting today, we are privileged to have the opportunity to learn from Cary Carbonaro's vast knowledge and experience. Her dedication to empowering others with the tools and strategy for financial success is truly inspirational. So guys, please, let's ask a lot of questions, have a lot of fun with this. Please give me a warm welcome to the one and only Cary Carbonaro. And Cary, I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I can't see who's out there, but hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. I'm going to get started right into my presentation so we can have lots and lots of time for questions. So we're going to start with, let me just give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, so I wanted to focus on working with female clients today because that's what I'm known for. And also it's not something that you would normally get. So I thought it would be very interesting for you guys to see this kind of niche. And so I'm going to just jump right in. So that's just, Jack already said all that stuff, so we don't have to go into that. So the only other thing he didn't say was that I just endowed a scholarship at my alma mater for women going into business. So that's new. Okay, so this slide is, people usually love this slide, and it's women and men make decisions differently. And this slide is actually from a client of mine who is a cardiologist for women. And this was her slide talking about women's health. And then I took it and talked about women's wealth. And it's pretty much that men and women are very different when it comes to pretty much everything. Okay, so women in money stats. So this is from Fidelity. Women are very eager to find out about financial planning, but they are not confident with talking about with an investment professional. 8 out of 10 confess that they don't want to have these conversations. 60% worry about having enough money, and 74% worry about the future. Okay, so this is another issue with women. The men can just run down the road in their suits, and the women have to go through all that stuff to get on the same playing field. So it's much harder for women to do pretty much everything, especially when it comes to wealth, right? Okay, so this is a Harvard Business Review study. which I will send you guys all the links to all of this so you can pull it up and take a look at it. But pretty much what it says is financial services wins the prize as the industry least sympathetic to women, and the one in which would gain the most if they can change their approach. So it's very interesting. You can really, the eyes on the prize, you'll see what the opportunity is for working with women, but we haven't figured it out yet, and financial services hasn't figured it out yet. Okay, so here's the opportunity. And this is from McKinsey, and this is very current. This is like less than 2 years old. And it says that women are the next wave of growth in wealth management. And so we can click on it if you want, but I let you guys do that later. But pretty much what it says is that for decades, wealth management's been male dominated. Financial advisors, there's only 15% are women. But the customers making the financial decisions are far more likely to be men than women anyway. And in 2/3 of affluent households in the United States, men are the key financial decision makers. But this is changing. And that's why, because women are inheriting it, are earning it, are getting divorced, and also just any types of transfers of wealth from people dying and all those different reasons that women are going to be getting these numbers. So this is my favorite number, and this is the number that I've been using for a long time. I used to head United Capital's women's leadership, and this is the number that I use to get a $2 million budget from my firm to run women's leadership for exactly this reason. By 2030, American women are expected to control 2/3 of the nation's wealth, which is 30, trillion in, at this point, less than seven years. So all of this is happening as we speak. It's very, very close, and still nobody has it. Okay, so why is it different working with female clients? Why is it different? Why is it harder? They retire with 2/3 of what men do. They live longer. Statistically, I think you guys know that, but I'm not sure if you do in your plans, but women live longer than men. They're more conservative. They don't like to invest as much. They're very nervous with the market. They are out of the workforce caregiving. That's either having children or taking care of elderly parents. They make less due to the pay wage gap, which also there's a wealth gap because of that. I have a story on that I'll show you. That's actually this one right here. I'm just gonna, whoops, I was gonna say I was gonna click on it, but we can go back to the things that I can click on later. So most don't know who to trust, and most don't hire a CFP, only hire a CFP in a crisis. Also, women take longer to make decisions. So there's a lot of reasons why people get frustrated and why women are more difficult to work with, or at least compared to men. But they're not actually more difficult to work with. That's just what people perceive. Okay, so by 2030, women will control 2/3 of the nation's wealth. 35% of millionaires are women in 2018. Only 15% of women don't enjoy investing at all. 92% of women want to learn more about financial planning. 75% want to learn about money and investing. 83% want to be involved with their finances. And mothers are the primary breadwinners in 4 out of 10 families. So before I go with more stats, does anybody have any questions? Because I know I'm going really fast. Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, I hear a question, but I can barely hear him. Hold on, let me make you louder. Let's see. I'm gonna have to make sure my volume's all the way up. I heard something. Whoops.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can you hear him?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can't hear him at all. But I do want to hear the question, so we'll wait for it. Oh, there it is, in the chat. Okay. All right, we got a couple of questions, actually. Oh, it can wait till later. Okay, you got it. Okay, so I'm gonna go next. Okay, so working with female clients. So this is actually, I'm gonna get out of here for a second because I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna get out of this. I'm gonna click on this because I do want to show you some of these articles. Because all of these articles that I put in here are articles that I wrote. So I want to share them with you. So this one just came out about a couple weeks ago. 5 ways women can avoid retirement disasters. And I talk about my famous stat here about women controlling 2/3 of the nation's wealth. And so the savings gap is the fact that they save so much less than men because they make less. Then we have romance schemes, which are a major deal for women losing money. The get rich quick scheme, too good to be true. Ponzi's. Women really need a financial advocate for them. I always say a CPA, a CFP, an attorney, really to help them to be their person, really, and then prioritize their financial life. So that was just my little thing that was on Market Watch. So do's and don'ts with a woman: listen, be empathetic. Make her feel comfortable, make her feel heard and seen. Don't mansplain. Sorry, guys, because I know a lot of you guys are guys. But it's a really big deal because women are, again, since the financial service is failing women terribly, it's mainly because they don't hear me, they don't see me, they don't listen to me, and they talk over my head. So then I say, don't ignore her. Don't make her feel silly for not understanding. Don't talk in jargon or over her head. And also, when there's a couple, you have to address both of them equally. So you have to make eye contact with both of them. You have to make sure, because what happens is I've seen in meetings where I'm with a man and a wife, and a woman will literally stop mid-track and start reading a magazine while we're in the middle of the meeting. And so I usually stop the meeting then and say, you know, can I answer any questions for you? Tell me why you're not engaged, because she is completely, or when the eyes start to glaze over and they're not interested, that's another reason when you stop the meeting and check in with the female, because a lot of times they just literally, they're like, I don't care. He takes care of this. So it's another whole story. Okay, so this book, I'm going to pull it up. This is my friend's book. And I really, really like this book for professionals. Let me just get to here. Okay, so this is called How to Give Financial Advice to Women, Attracting and Retaining High Net Worth Female Clients. So it's been around a while. I mean, her book and my book around same time, old. They're kind of old. They've been around a while. But hers in her book, which I usually have a copy of, but she didn't give it to me in time for this meeting. But I usually have, it's a test and it's a quiz, and it says, how female friendly is your practice? And it makes you go take a quiz and then go back and see, okay, you might think it's female friendly, but unless you get a high score on this quiz, it's actually not, and you're actually doing yourself a disservice. So let me go back to that. So I think everybody should read it. I think it's a very, very good book. So, and I love the quiz, how female friendly is your practice? Okay, so now I have a ton of female industry pieces. I mean, a ton here. So I'm gonna bring them up, and we're gonna just talk about them for a couple of minutes, and then we're gonna talk about questions and answers. Okay, so all of these are recent press related to women And most of this I wrote or it was written about me. So this one is why women leave their advisors when their spouse dies. And these are all the reasons why. There's a lot of reasons, but you can take a look at this. So Rethinking 65, I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's an industry article. It's all industry articles. You can subscribe for free, and they can, they go into your inbox. They're also on LinkedIn, but there's really, really excellent industry information here. That's one of them. Why women leave their advisors. Then we've got, oops, I don't want you in my email. Let me get back to where I was. Hold on. Okay, so then we've got this one. This one is kind of why there are not a lot of female financial advisors. That's this one. Where are all the women advisors and all the issues with that? I wrote this one too. This is a very, very, very well-read article. It was the number 1 article last year read, but why women are different and why we're not staying in the industry. Okay, then we've got, this is how I charge clients, and people who are new to the industry really, really like this one because I've gotten a lot of feedback from new advisors on how to charge. And so this actually explains how I charge, why I charge, how I do it, how I break it down, how I figure out to charge flat fees versus AUM fees versus both. So you can take a look at that one too. And then my last 2 articles are, this is a compilation article. This was written by the owner of Rethinking 65. And this was, if you take a look here, why women need more pathways within the industry. And this is actually, everybody quoted in this article is in my Powerful Female Catalyst Mastermind group. So a bunch of senior women in the industry I got them together, and we're doing a group to try to solve these issues. So anyway, you can take a look at this one. And then the last but not least, which is also an excellent one, which just came out, is this one. And this is talking about female rainmakers and why we're different and how we do things differently. So I'll just pull that one up too. And you guys will get the links to all of these, but female rainmakers reveal secrets to success. So this is a very, very interesting article. It's 15 minutes long. It's a long article. There's a lot of quotes from me and my group in this article, and why we have a different North Star, because we don't just look at AUM, and that's how we determine success differently than men do in the industry. So, okay, let me get back to my presentation. I think I am up to, what do you want to know but we're afraid to ask? Ask me about my career. How did I get here? Connect with me on social media. I will always make myself available to anybody who wants to talk about the industry, which is why I'm here today. I'm a big believer in giving back and nurturing the next generation of planners. So now ask me questions. Okay.
Do you in the
Two totally different things. Totally different. CFPs don't have CFAs and CFAs don't have CFPs. Two completely different skill sets. CFPs are planners, work with clients one-on-one. CFAs, portfolio managers, work behind the scenes. Definitely. I mean, I've seen a few of people that have both, but it is very rare because it's really two totally different skill sets.
We do have a customer what should we be asking from read them off to you.
Okay.
So you're being a CFP report. What information you're focused? What is the
Because women women are behind the 8 ball when it comes to saving. So that's, first of all, they are all the reasons that I put in the presentation. They have less, they make less, they are out of the workforce, they live longer, they spend more money on retirement, they spend more money on healthcare. They have 100 strikes against them. So women need more help than men, and men get help all the time. And the industry is 20% female, 80% male. So they can't even get female advisors if they wanted to. So that's why I focus on females.
Speaking of you, you all advice to women, and what do you believe is perfect financial habits for women in order to achieve this?
Well, first of all, they need a roadmap and a plan, because you can't get there without the plan. And so that's number one. Number two, spend less than you make. Number three, credit cards are not free money. Number four, you have to have a good credit score. Number five, you better be participating in your 401k and putting away as much as possible. Number six, don't put your kids above yourself. Number seven, make saving and investing a priority in your life. Number eight, I always say plan for your retirement like you plan for your vacation or your wedding. So women are good planners, they just don't plan for their retirement, but they should. So I think that's a good start of what I would say.
Another person, you can be one of the 20 most powerful in your life by organizing. How do you leverage your influence to further bridge the gender gap in the finance industry to go greater inclusivity?
So I've been trying to do that my entire career. And since my firm was disbanded, which I don't know if you guys know the whole story about United Capital, but United Capital was sold to Goldman Sachs. And I was the head of women's leadership at United Capital, and I was really making a difference. I was really moving the needle. I was really proud of what I was doing within the industry. And then my whole firm got taken away, and my whole job got taken away, and my women's leadership got taken away. And so here I am starting over from scratch, sort of, but not really, because I still have my influence. I just unfortunately couldn't be out there 4 years, almost 4 years. Goldman Sachs would not let me speak or write or go on TV or be on social media or use my influence in any way, shape, or form. So now I'm back. I'm only back a couple of months. And since then, I've created this powerful female mastermind group to exactly address that issue within the industry. And I'm going to continue to do this till, even after I'm retired, I'm going to continue to be an advocate for women in the industry. And I'm not going to stop till I'm probably deceased. So it's a huge, huge task. I can't do it alone. I've been trying to do it. That's why I need a huge team. And I'm working on a cross-functional team from all other platforms and all other firms and broker-dealers and RIAs and banks and who else is in that group? I've got technology people. I've got journalists. I've got a couple of CEOs. And so anyway, we're all trying to collectively answer that question. And yeah, it's a huge one that I hope I'll solve in my lifetime, but I don't know.
So as a prominent speaker and what are the most common misconceptions that
So is that for me or is it for clients?
I think it's both.
Okay, so yeah, it's two different answers. So I think the one towards me, the challenges I've had, did you say?
Yeah.
So I actually wrote about that in one of my articles recently, in the Rainmaker article. So I've been told throughout my career that I don't look like a financial planner. Why is my hair so long? I'm too attractive to be a financial planner. I look like a cheerleader. I don't think guys have ever gotten those comments from potential clients, and I have gotten all of those comments. And so I'm sort of used to it at this point. I mean, I'm getting older now, so I'm not getting them as much now. But I got them a lot when I was in my 30s and 40s, and you just have to roll with it, and you just have to just move past it and, you know, not let it affect you, because you are definitely going to be discriminated against as a woman. So that is a major issue. And you just have to be stronger than, I mean, the women in financial services who are successful are strong women. You have to be. There's no way you can make it any other way. And that's actually what the Rainmaker article says. But okay, and then the common misconceptions about women clients is that, you know, they don't understand it, that, you know, they're not smart, all completely untrue. You know, it's just women, it's different. We talk about going out with our friends. I mean, we'll talk about sex before we talk about money. Women just don't talk about money. It's just a taboo subject. So it's just, where are they supposed to get this information from? If they don't learn it from home, there's nobody telling them. You know, the only other woman that I know who's like, does a lot for women for financial literacy, who may be before your time, you guys might not know who I'm talking about, but her name is Susie Orman, and she used to have her own TV show. And personally, I don't like her, and she was mean. But anyway, she at least was doing some stuff. And since she left, there's really nobody who's picked up that spot. I would love to pick up that spot. I would love my own TV show. I'm always working on it. I just got back to TV 6 weeks ago, and I've actually been on like 12 times in 6 weeks. So I've been doing a ton of TV, but not hopefully enough to, you know, maybe they'll offer me a show, a money show. I don't know. That's what I want. So we'll see what happens.
So you've had many individuals in business that like in your community, what are the most
well, not one size fits all. So, right. So everybody's financial plan is different based on who they are, what they want. And, you know, some are more complex than others. And, you know, the less you have, usually the less complex. The more you have, the more complex, you know, and to me, I'm at the stage in my career where it gets fun and interesting and exciting for me at like 20 million and up. And that, yeah, I saw that face, but that's when it gets exciting, because I could do 5 million and under in my sleep financial plans, because I'm so used to those, and or 2 million average investable assets and 5 million net worth. So what happens is you over time, you sort of go like this. So I remember, you know, when you first start, you take any client, and, you know, I still actually have some of those clients who like started with like 100,000 and they're still with me, you know, but what happens over time is, for me personally, I just get bored. So I need more of a challenge. And so that's why you move upstream, because you can, and because it's more challenging. So I don't know. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, that question. The next item on this list here is, in light of the ongoing economic changes and market volatility, what do you purchase?
Well, it's a great time. As a matter of fact, I just said this to somebody the other day who was had a bunch of money in cash, And I said, I think it's an excellent time to invest right now because we just came off a down, a black swan year. Actually, I'm going to show you guys something. Do you guys mind if I pull something up on my computer? Okay, this is really good stuff. You're going to really like it. This is so excellent. Let's see. Go to my bookmarks. Okay, where's my bookmarks? Come on. Where's my bookmarks? It's weird. That's not what I want. I think it's not working. Where's my bookmarks? That's really strange. I had an issue with my computer before I got here, and I think it must have done something because it got rid of my bookmarks. That might, anyway, whatever. What happened last year in 2022 was actually considered a black swan event. And a black swan is when you lose money in a 50% stock and 50% treasury portfolio. It's only happened 4 other times. One was during the Great Depression, one was during World War II, one was in the 70s, one was a couple years ago, but it was only down a little bit, like less than 5% down. And last year was double-digit down, 15%, 50% portfolio of stocks and bonds. So what happens? So what that means is, A, it's a black swan. B, it has not happened too many other times. But what happens after that is the exciting part. After that, based on the last 4 times it happened, the market was up between 29 and 59% over the next 3 years. So when I tell anybody that, they get very excited. And so far, I think I'm right because January was up and we're up year to date. Last Friday, we were up, I think 7.5% year to date as of last Friday. So far, so good. This year's already turning out to be better than last year was. So that's why I think it's a great time to invest. And also, if you do dollar cost averaging and you take the emotion out of it and you don't try to market time, you're also always better off.
So with the rise of AI, I think most of our members probably watched later OpenAI ChatGPT. I think the role promoting universities.
So such a good question, and I'm all over this like white on rice. And it's so funny because sometimes I like to when I'm doing a TV segment. I had a segment on Sunday, that was about inflation and how it's affecting consumers. And so I did a Google search of what it would tell me, and then I did a chat GPS search, GBT, whatever it's called, right? And and the chat GBT, I was very disappointed with, because pretty much what it was saying was, we can't tell you, you need to get a professional advice, and a professional needs to answer this question for you. Whereas on Google, you got a million different answers. So I thought that was very, very interesting that they're telling you to go to get advice, and that they can't answer it, that AI can't answer it. So I'm not really worried about losing my job to AI.
So, as you mentioned for what advice would you give young women or who aspire to build a successful career in finance?
Keep doing it no matter what, and also reach out to me, because my new group is going to do a mentorship program, and we're going to be like, our whole goal is going to be to get women in the industry and then keep them in the industry, to keep them staying in the industry, because we do lose a lot of women because it is so difficult. And you know, we say that the guys have a hidden handshake, and we don't have that. So we don't know what we don't know. And I believe that women should have ownership and stock options and negotiate salaries and all this other kind of stuff that a lot of women don't necessarily do. And so that's another thing that we're going to try to help women with. So
How do you approach the unique financial challenges faced by the business, for example, gun pay gap, the rate for your caregiving, the long life expectancy?
So unfortunately, all of those things, you need more money, not less money, to address all of them. So, you know, women, a lot of women who are not doing financial plans, you know, have all these strikes against them. And that's why I talk about it in my book. I talk about, like, you know, the bag lady syndrome. And a lot of women have that because exactly for that reason, because they have all these strikes against them and they didn't plan properly and they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And guess what? It's not easy to do this. It's not easy to, you know, take 10 or 20 or 30% of your pay and sock it away for a rainy day and, you know, never look at it again, or, you know, manage it with your advisor. You know, it's really difficult because you have to, you know, put off instant gratification for the future. And so the only way to do it is to run the numbers. And again, they need more money, not less money. So it's a matter of math and compromise and choices. And so that's really it. And anybody can do it. It's just a matter of looking at those three things.
So with the rise of the more responsible investment, I think we might have to speak here on Tuesday this question, but we're at again. How do you guys while building?
So good question. I have a bunch of clients who have portfolios that match their social, what they want, what they believe in this world. So I have one client who has a vegan portfolio. I have one client that has just a plain SRI portfolio. And I've got another client that has a very tailored SRI portfolio. And so usually SRI portfolios are what is excluded. So I don't want guns, I don't want tobacco, I don't want sin stocks, right? I'm just making it up, but you know, that's one of the screens you could put for excluded. But when it's a very targeted portfolio, you do inclusion and exclusion. So what I don't want in there and what I do want in there. And then you get a narrow set of parameters. And there's a lot of good outside money managers that will do this. So we use Parametric, and there's Advisor Partners that also does it. And then we just give them the parameters, and then they manage the portfolio for us. And honestly, my clients that have it have been pretty happy with the performance. So, you know, that's another whole thing, because a lot of people think, oh, if I'm going to do SRI, I'm going to give up returns. And the answer is supposed to be no, you're not. So
as an accomplished female leader, have you faced any barriers or challenges? If so, moving forward.
I've faced a ton. My most recent challenge was Goldman Sachs, which was an absolute horror for me. I came into Goldman Sachs as the #1 woman in United Capital. And I was the voice of the woman, and I was head of women's leadership, and I was doing all these great things. I got into Goldman, and they, you know, cut off my arms and legs and put a gag around my mouth and told me to sit in the corner and shut up and babysit my clients. And I couldn't get out of my contract, even though I tried. And then I tried to buy my business back from Goldman, and I paid a fortune to an attorney where I was going to have to write them a check to leave. And then, which I was willing to do. And then they reneged on me and would not let me buy my business back, but they let all the guys buy their businesses back. So I was the only one they said no to. I was the only woman that tried. And then what I had to do was I had to quit. I had to run out my non-compete and not work for almost a year. And then pick up my clients on the other side with my #2 who went with me. And I picked a small firm, you know, this firm in Jersey, ACM. And that's where we went. and he went there before me. And then by the time I got there, my clients were there waiting for me. But I took a massive risk because I literally jumped out without a parachute, and I could have wound up with 0 clients and no revenue and no money. And, Goldman could have sued me on top of that because I had a non-compete and a non-solicit and a non-acceptance. And so I was pretty lucky. I got out. And the reason that I did think I got out is because I did know that they knew that they totally discriminated against me. And so they decided to leave me alone because they knew I would talk to the press. And they know that I am friendly with the press. And so anyway, they left me alone and I got out, and now I'm at a new firm. And so it was incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult.
So your experience in working with involving the individual, particularly women.
So, well, on the investment side, don't keep it all in cash, because a lot of women prefer not to be invested in the market because they are very, very nervous and they don't like the ups and downs. And what I tell them is, I show them an Ibbotson chart and I say, you can't lose money if you're invested in a greater than a 10-year period. It's never happened in history. So forget about the ups and downs or the bumps in the road. If you've got a long time horizon, you're never going to lose money. And the only way you can lose money is if you're in a single stock that goes bankrupt, or you're in a Ponzi, and you're not going to be with either of those with me. So I protect them from that. And I've protected clients from Ponzi's a couple of times in my career. As a matter of fact, I just recently was with one of my top clients, and we were with her attorney and me and her. We were doing some things for important things for her family limited partnerships. And she said to the attorney, when I first met Cary, she looked at my statements and she said, "What is this?" And she said, "I don't know, it's a hedge fund or whatever." And I said, "I don't like it, get out of it." I said, "I don't like anything about this." And she said, "It turns out it was Bernie Madoff." And she got me out 2 years before it collapsed. I didn't even remember doing it, but that's what I do. So anyway, I protected her from that and she didn't lose any money. But anyway, so that's one thing, is to not be afraid of the stock market. And then the second thing is to take the advice of who's ever telling you, who's your advocate. And then third is to not let emotions, make bad decisions, which is the whole behavioral finance thing. I get very mad at myself when I cannot convince a client to listen to me, even though it's not my fault, but I do lose sleep over it. And I actually talk about that in one of my articles too, but there's nothing I can do if they're not going to listen to me, but then they're going to lose. So
can you share your perspective on the importance of having a diversifying investment portfolio? How do you think it contributes to long-term financial stability?
Yeah, so, well, I mean, it's the old adage, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So everybody knows that. And so you guys know what a Callan chart is, right? Okay, so if you look at a Callan chart, I always tell people, pick a color, follow it along the chart, follow it along the years, tell me what you come up with. And most people say, I have no idea what that means. And I say, well, the point of that is that nobody knows when the asset classes are going to be at the top or at the bottom, and it always moves, and it doesn't even move in nobody knows, and there's no rhyme or reason. And so that if you have a little bit of everything, you'll always be in the top asset class and the bottom, but you'll smooth it out over time. So that's my answer.
So what role do you believe individuals like CFP play in closing the gender welfare, the majority of women and people?
So I'm working on it. I don't have that answer. That's still working on it. So this year, Equal Pay Day was It was in March this year. It was up from last year or the year before. So every year their equal pay day moves and it gets closer to January. So I remember back in the day, it was in May, then it was in April, now it's in March. So every year the equal pay day is getting closer to January 1st, which would be where the men are January 1st. So it's how many days the women have to work to make equal pay with the men, how many extra days. So anyway, the equal pay is getting shorter every year. So that means it's actually working. It's just working slowly.
So you have a global presence speaking at conferences all around the world. How do you think the financial needs and challenges will vary across different cultures and regions?
So I've spoken in a lot of different places and it's been a while because you remember I haven't been able to speak for 4 years. So, but previous to that, when I spoke in India, that was really interesting because women are definitely not business women as much in India. I mean, some of them are, but you know, they were telling me that they wear their assets in jewelry. They wear gold around their arms and legs and whatever. And that's how they feel. If they get money, they convert it to gold. And I was like blown away from that. I just thought that was really, really unbelievable. What a difference it was. And obviously every country is very different. The Nordic countries like Finland and Norway and Denmark and Sweden, thank you, sorry. So those guys are incredibly equal and more equal than we are in the United States because they've got all these mandates for women. And so they really do not have as much of a gap that we do. I was also in Australia, and Australia is very similar to the US in so many different ways. You know, we were both colonies and we both are like, both speak English, very, very similar GDPs. Obviously we're bigger than them, but they were very, very similar to us. And I remember one of the women saying to me, did you have children? And I said, no, I did not have children. And she goes, that's why you're successful. She goes, you made a choice to not have children and you decided to focus on your career. And I thought that was very interesting. It was the first person ever to ever call me out on not having children and putting all my energy into my career. And you know what? Maybe she's right. I don't know. I don't know how working moms do it.
So, for couples and families, can you provide guidance on
For a family or for the couple?
Oh.
Okay, so couples, it's easy because, you know, every meeting that you have for a financial planning meeting should have both parties, both, you know, the couple should have the couple, right? So both of them should be there and both of them should be on the same page with everything. And both of them should know where all their assets are, what their net worth is, what their budget is, you know, that's easy. The kids are another whole story because a lot of families do not want to tell the kids. They don't want to bring the kids in. They don't want the kids to know anything. So that is a huge issue. And it really depends on the couple.
So how do you approach the topic? How do you help them in the right balance between work and work?
So let me tell you, it is a very difficult task because everybody wants to be 100% stocks when the market's going up, and everybody wants to be 100% not in stocks when the market's going down, both of which are not really good choices. So you have to find some sort of balance. You know, I would say most people, and really most people are 60-40, 60% stocks, 40% bonds. And usually we make some tweaks along the way. But I feel like in most cases, it's a good place to start with most people. And then we sort of take it from there. When I was at United Capital, we had a ton of behavioral finance questionnaires where we used to go in and really get to the heart of asking them questions about, do you like this? Do you like that? Do you prefer domestic over international? You know, how do you feel about taxes versus fees? And we got into all this stuff. I don't have any of that stuff now. So I am just using regular, just, you know, picking portfolios. And you know what, what's good with asset allocation and risk tolerance is you can change it. So you can change it at any time. It's not set in stone. And so we make changes.
So how do you address the unique financial planning and women for the small business?
So it's definitely harder for women. But I love working with women entrepreneurs because they are, you know, spend their time focused on their day job. So they do need help with their finances. So it's where I can really add a lot of value, because if I'm coming in, I can teach them to budget. I can go through their P&Ls with them. I can go through their QuickBooks. I can, you know, I can really be a resource to them above and beyond just being financial planner. I can help them in their businesses as well. So to me, it's an honor to work with them, and I really enjoy it. I hope that answers the question.
So when I don't know very but in the context of what does women take insurance?
So, well, first of all, you got to remember that you are going to live longer as a woman. So right now, the Social Security tables are going out to like 120. So, which is pretty insane, but there's a lot of people living past 100 right now. So let's say you worked from, 20 to 60, that's 40 years. Now you're retiring 60 to, let's say, 105. Your actually retirement is longer than you worked for a woman. And so people just don't look at it that way, but it is the way to look at it, because you've got to fund this huge life expectancy. And also, I had an article yesterday that came out on Social Security, and I said, we don't even add Social Security unless you're taking it. We don't put it in the plan, because it's going to have to keep being pushed out and pushed out. Like for me, I think the average age for me to take it is like 67. For you guys, it's probably close to 70, and it's just gonna keep getting pushed out and out and out and out and out. So it may not be there. Who knows? And actually, the latest thing is that it's going to be broke by 2033 or whatever. So obviously, there's major issues with Social Security.
So now in the age of digital finance, cryptocurrency, blockchain, time period becomes increasingly important. How do you kind of protect their facing potential sector, like for example, move over that FTX?
So first of all, we don't believe in Bitcoin. We don't believe it's an asset class. We have never, and that's when I say me, I mean United Capital, Goldman Sachs, and I don't ever normally give them props for anything, but they say it's not an asset class. My current firm doesn't say it's an asset class. We don't believe it's an asset class. So we have kept our clients away from it. Nobody's lost any money because they were not involved in that. So I don't really know what is going to happen with that. I don't know if it's the future. I really don't. All I know is we're not offering it to our clients. When we send emails, we send them secure. So everything, anytime there's an account number or anything, everything is secure. We have our clients use like apps that change their passwords, but I'm definitely not a cyber security expert. But I've taken a couple of classes on it, and it's very interesting, and I'm probably bad at it, actually, if you want to know the truth.
That's usually for our younger members of the line. I think we have one more question listed here. As a leader in the world of finance, can you share your vision for power and steps you believe are necessary to
So, well, women have to get equal pay first. That's number one. I think the fact that women are out of the workforce, having children and caregiving is another major issue. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull up a slide for you guys. I'm going to pull something up that I have. I know it's on my LinkedIn. I gotta find it. New share. Let me go to my LinkedIn for a second. I want to show you this. I think it was in my one of my most viewed stuff. So let me go there. Sorry, you're like looking at my analytics here, but it's I want to show you, but I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Okay. Because it's really an excellent slide that addresses all of these issues. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second, and then I'm going to pull it up this way. I don't like when people are like looking at my stuff there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then there we go. Okay, show more. I found it. There it is. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so this slide is so fantastic. So it shows, I don't know if you can see it. Can you guys see it good? Okay, so so this is how the choices, this is the wage and wealth gap and how these choices impact women along the way. So here you are in your early 20s and 30s, and you've got the motherhood penalty. Then in your 40s and a little bit 50s, you got the child care penalty. Then you've got the good daughter and spouse penalty as you get older. So all of this has to change. So this is saying that you lose over $1 million of wages and wealth because of all of doing all of this. So I think this slide is incredibly powerful. And so anyway, so this has to change. This is a major issue. And that's what I would say.
Well, bring it up. This section, maybe all these questions like this and that, already people members are thinking. It's actually really awesome. They ask a lot of great questions here. Maybe we have one last question. The first one basically is if you go time that you previous what was one thing you would think would be better? And then two. For any of our members, I know we have some virtually that are in the software that what to do. Talent and what advice would you give that is how we've done it.
No, it's okay.
And then if you share any vertical and your own that shape
yeah, so all right, the last one I'm gonna take last. So the first one is I already forgot it. Oh yeah, I got it. I got my answer too. Okay, so what I would say, if I could go back in time when I was in college, and I actually am happy with my career path the way it went. However, a couple things that keep me up at night that you still lose sleep over is that I walked away from money on the table from a couple of different firms, meaning I left before I was vested. I left before I got options. I quit Goldman and then they clawed back my stock, which they weren't supposed to do, but they did. And also the other thing is that I would do is I would have way more ownership equity. And that's my fault because I sometimes I wanted higher salary than more long-term wealth options. But long-term wealth options, pensions, equity ownership. That's really what I would, if I was to do it again, I would do that again. I had a partner seed account at Lord Abbott back in the day, and I walked away from that, and that really hurts when I think about that one. But I think about all the money that I gave up, and it kills me. But I still have plenty, so I guess I'm okay. So that answers that question. Okay, so then the second question was what would I tell them to do, which path, right? So on that one, I would say start to shadow some people, do internships, do informational interviews, a day in the life of, you know, what it looks like to do your job. You know, I know my job is different every single day. And if it wasn't, I would be completely bored and I'd go out of my mind. So I think if I was like an accounting person, just because that's not who I am, I think I would be bored with, because I would just be doing numbers, and I would not, it would not be good enough. It would not excite me enough. People are very exciting to me because everybody's so different, and navigating people, what they want, what they need, what they, you know, who they are. It's incredibly challenging and also fun. And I'm also good at it. So that's why I like it. You know, and then the other thing, this is another really important thing. If as a young professional in this field, in the wealth management side, are you going to be a finder or are you going to be a minder? And so you have to ask yourself that question. A finder is a rainmaker. That's what I am. That's somebody who goes out and gets clients. That is a harder job for most people, but I couldn't do it without a minder. I need somebody to take care of my clients because I'm busy doing all my other stuff like social media and TV and book writing and you know, getting new clients and drumming up new business. And so I need somebody to take care of my clients. So that is just as important of a job, but that's a minder job. That means you're taking care of clients, you're holding their hands, you're, you know, doing check requests, you know, you're just taking care of stuff. I don't do that. So somebody has to do that. And that's incredibly important. And if you could pair a finder with a minder, it's a dynamic duo, and it's an amazing team. So I would see if you can figure out what you are. And some people are both. I mean, at one point I thought I was both, but I'm definitely not a minder. So I'm definitely much better. And I have a fantastic minder who's been with me for 15 years. I got him right out of college and he's been with me ever since. And he's a man, but you know, it's okay. I don't hold that against him. And then the last question, can you repeat the last question again?
Can you share with people from your call shape you toward your development?
Yeah, so my dad was worked for JP Morgan Chase. He was a banker. And so, you know, when I was little, we grew up around money, talking about money and sharing money stories. And I did money stuff with him. And I always say we bonded over money instead of like sports. And so I always practice what I preach. So I was, you know, budgeting it in college and saving in college and investing in college. And I was doing all these things. And it's funny because there's one funny story where right out of college, we were like 22 and my girlfriends all went to Mardi Gras for like, you know, fun. And I said, yeah, I'm not going. And they're like, why? And I said, because that $1,000 I have in the bank now that I'm going to spend on this trip is going to be worth $200,000 by the time I'm 50 something. And I said, I'm not spending it. And I didn't go. And I regret it to this day.
Well, that was an amazing answer. Thank you so much for your speaking today.
You're welcome.